When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see the Phoenix Suns. He said, son, when you grow up, this team will be the reason you are broken, defeated, and damned. He said they'll pay too much money for a shit team, and they will miss the play-in despite the money they've paid. Because one day the season will finally be over to lead you into the summer to join the Purple Parade. And you know what? 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 I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's done. This motherfucking season. It's been so heartbreaking. I am so glad it's done. So fuck the Suns. And let's start rebuilding this shit. And we'll start right after this fucking drop.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
Hey, Jamsters. Thanks for pressing play and welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. It's official. The funeral procession has begun. And though there's two games left in the 2024-2025 season, the Phoenix Suns have been eliminated from play-in contention. No, not playoff contention. Play-in contention. After months of frustration and inconsistency, the Phoenix Suns has come to a close. Yes, a pair of games still remain on the calendar against the Spurs on Friday and the Kings at 12:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, but any hope of a postseason appearance has officially been extinguished. Not a playoff berth, not even a play-in spot. On Wednesday night, the Suns hosted the Oklahoma City Thunder, a franchise that represents everything the Suns are not right now. The Thunder are young, dynamic, and cohesive, a team brimming with chemistry and confidence as they prepare for what could be a deep playoff run. Meanwhile, the Suns came in dragging the weight of a 7-game losing streak, their season teetering on the edge. They needed a spark, a statement, something to cling to. Instead, they got another loss, one that felt heavier than the rest. This wasn't just another game. This was confirmation. The window didn't close. It slammed shut. The grand experiment, the all-in gamble, it's officially failed. The Suns, owners of the highest payroll in NBA history, won't finish among the top 10 seeds in the Western Conference. A season that began with championship aspirations ends not with a bang, but with a quiet thud, underscoring just how far that this team and just how short this team fell from its expectations. And now the speculation begins. What's next for the Phoenix Suns? How do you claw your way out of a grave you spent your entire season digging? A long, uncertain offseason looms, filled with tough questions and even tougher decisions. But before any changes can be made, 2 more games remain on this lifeless schedule. 2 more chances to see just how low this team can sink. Meanwhile, in Houston, the Rockets must be grinning ear to ear, watching the Suns' first-round pick, gift-wrapped via the Kevin Durant trade, gain value with every Phoenix loss. For them, it's a silver lining. For the Suns, it's salt in the wound. The only thing rising in Phoenix now is the smoke from the wreckage. A super team reduced to rubble, leaving behind nothing but regret, hard questions, and a first-round pick lighting someone else's future. That's where we're at after this game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it was a funny game, wasn't it, Jamsters? It was a funny game because the Suns came out in the first quarter and they looked competent. They looked like a team who just wanted to piss us off. 39 points in the first quarter for the Phoenix Suns. 39 points. And it was funny on Twitter, because I put it out there. I said, along the lines that we're all ready for the season to end. And what do the Suns do? They scored 39 points in the first against the best team in the NBA, albeit, there's no Hartenstein, there's no SGA. And there's a bunch of people, they're not even playing their best guys. Like, do you fucking watch this team? Have you watched this team all season? Oh, they're not playing their best guys? That's why we're up 10? Then why didn't it work against Charlotte or Orlando or Brooklyn or Portland twice? Now, true to form, the Suns came back down to earth. They ended up, after scoring 39 in that first quarter, amassing 73 total points the remainder of the game. They lose 125 to 112 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They gave up 43 points in the third quarter, and that's what swung the tide. Now, I didn't have a chance to come on this podcast yesterday after the Suns lost to the Golden State Warriors in a lifeless, horrible game. But I'll tell you this, as I was in the building, I've never been to a game with such an air about it in the crowd. You'd think that this team, this iteration of Phoenix Suns basketball, with the high price tags and the big egos, you'd think when they were getting blown out by the Golden State Warriors, that the boo birds would come raining down upon them. I didn't hear one boo. It was funny. It was comical. I was sitting there up on Media Row speaking with my other, fellow media members from different outlets that cover the team, and we've covered the team the whole season long. And we were sitting there just dogging the Suns. We were taking bets on when the team would be down by 20 points. When would they be down by 10? And yet when it started to fall apart, there were no boos. And again tonight, reports from the arena, there's no boos. I couldn't believe it. This team is so disengaged that the fan base doesn't even waste their time booing their lackadaisical performance. The way that they don't care on the defensive end. Yeah, equipment manager, Fallen Founder says in the chat, boos would show we care. Nobody cared. Eddie Yee says it too. It was one of the craziest experiences I've ever been a part of. That team was unbelievably disappointing. And nobody cared. Nobody cared last night. And again tonight. We all knew it was coming. I wore black to work today. I knew this was the end of the season, and good riddance. And it's frustrating. And it's sad. And it's depressing. Because it's because of where we're at as a team, as a franchise. I think that's the biggest challenge. This season wasn't just a disappointment. It was a profound failure. And maybe we're still too close to it. Clearly, we still have 2 more games to go, but we're too entangled in the moment to fully grasp its place in the broader arc of Suns history. Without the distance of time or the benefit of hindsight, there's no need to ask you guys if you think that this is the most disheartening chapter in the history of the Phoenix Suns, if this is the most disappointing chapter, because the answer is always going to be an overwhelming yes. I ran some polls on Bright Side of the Sun a couple seasons ago about expectations. Is this the most anticipated season in Suns history? And the answer is always going to be yes. The next one's always the most anticipated. But disappointment wears many faces in Phoenix. It's the sting of a Game 7 meltdown after a 64-win season. It's the hollow ache of a 2-0 NBA Finals lead slipping through your trembling fevers. The helplessness of watching a 19-win roster limp through winter nights with no hope in sight. It's the pain of seeing a season's potential shattered by injury, like in 2000 with, Penny Hardaway and or Joe Johnson's orbital bone in 2005. It's the slow motion heartbreak of John Paxson's dagger, or Mario Ellie's dagger, or Tim Duncan's impossible dagger, or Meta World Peace ripping your heart out and laying it gently in the basket. So yeah, disappointment's the norm here in Phoenix. It's practically woven into the fabric of this franchise. But the most disappointing season ever, again, only time and a little distance will offer clarity to answer that question. But here's what I do know. Here's what I feel is undeniable. This season represented something far darker than just disappointment. It symbolizes hopelessness. Every heartbreak before this, there's always something to cling to. A great team that just came up short, a promising young core, draft capital that lies ahead, a future you could believe in, even if the present let you down. But this season, this was the all-in gamble. The Suns traded the future for Kevin Durant, then doubled down and threw the scraps of what remained in the pot for Bradley Beal. And 2 seasons later, they've come up with nothing. Not a playoff series win, not even a fucking play-in berth this season. Just a bloated payroll, a barren asset cupboard, and a franchise staring into the abyss, unsure of how to climb out. And that's where the real hopelessness sets in, because the Suns didn't just trade away the future for a mediocre present. They traded it for this. For a team spinning its wheels, trying to play catch-up in a race it used to lead. They had a young, exciting, hungry core, one that was building something real, and they threw it away for big names, big contracts, even bigger egos. Is there a way out? Sure. There's always a path forward. But sitting here in the smoldering aftermath, it feels like the weight of Jupiter's pressing down on the franchise's chest, right? Like trade Durant, do we fire Budenholzer, renegotiate Brad Beal's deal, nail a late first-round pick. Like each move feels critical. Each step has to be flawless. It's not just about getting back to being competitive. It's about restoring belief, restoring hope, rebuilding trust, giving the fan base something to dream about again. Because right now, that's what's been lost the most. Hope. I mean, again, I was in the arena last night, and I don't think I've ever felt more deflated as a fan. There were cheers, sure, but they weren't for Phoenix. They were for the Warriors. And as I looked around, it became clear. Suns fans, they're lost, hopeless, disappointed, too tired to boo, too disengaged to care. Will time tell if this is the most disappointing season in the franchise's history? Maybe. But right now, all I feel is hopelessness. Sure, I'll continue watching, keep an eye on the transaction, keep brainstorming ways to get this team back on track. Why? Because we're fans, like fanatic. That's what it stands for. We're fanatical about the purple and orange. This team is part of who we are, our soul, our identity. But never in my years of following the Suns have I ever entered an offseason with this much despair. It feels as if the wrongs of this season can't be righted for at least a decade. And it's going to take something extraordinary to shock me out of this funk. But I'll hold on to that faint hope that maybe we can still be surprised. There's only one bit of good news that I have from tonight.
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Bo, bo.
As boring as that game was. And yeah, they were somewhat competitive. Cool, somewhat competitive. That's great. But a loss is a loss. But during the game, I'd seen a comment that John Gambadoro from Arizona Sports 98.7 FM had said about how, he's like, I guarantee that Bradley Beal won't be here next year. So I'm like, you sure about that? And he says, yeah, like he's like, you can quote me. He's going to take less. He's going to make it up on a new deal with a new team. They're going to buy him out, essentially. I'm still trying to understand the schematics behind that. I've reached out to Bobby Marks to try to really understand that. But, Bradley Beal's done. And if that's the case, if we have to go through this pain right now, knowing that Bradley Beal could be gone next season, I'm all for it, man. This was a rough season. This was rough. I went back and I watched the podcast that Matthew and I did after Game 7 against the Mavericks. I watched that the other day. And it's disheartening. And I'm like, man, this feels worse. I don't know. Like, again, there was hope there at the end. You're like, shit. This was like, fuck. It was embarrassing. We were embarrassed. But we had just won 64 wins. Like, we were right at the front end, a finals run, a 64-win season. Okay, let's run it back. Let's make something happen. Yada, yada, yada. So the level of despair that I possess now, again, it can only be corrected if I feel that Bradley Beal is not here next year. And I'm not even going to say, like, the things that you're always supposed to say. It's not against the person. It's against the contract. Whatever. Like, watching him last night, like, Eddie E's right. I think Bradley Beal has proven himself to be a serial loser. Irish Roar. Beal's the definition of what's wrong with this whole team and season. Cheering for your opponent, Curry, was the last straw. He's the worst. Yeah, last night, it was right in front of me when it happened. Steph Curry hits the three, the famous, I shoot, I turn around because I know it's going in, and Beal's just sitting there like laughing. He's like, well, man, that was fucking great, dude. That was good. Can I get an autograph? I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Where's the competitiveness? He's being challenged in post-games interviews by Dwayne Rankin. Kudos to Dwayne Rankin. He's like, where's the aggressive? I play aggressive. I play team ball. Yeah, you had 7 fucking points. And he goes out tonight, and in 39 minutes played, he's 8 of 17, 25 points. The highest scorer for the Phoenix Suns. I don't care. Don't care. A good game here and there isn't what you want from the guy who's going to be you're paying the most, from a $50 million a year player. Let's go through some of the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out, going through it's funny. I had a radio spot. For those of you who listen to the podcast, I post the radio spots that I do with 1060 AM, the Sports Zone with Rooster. And I was on earlier today. And after we were done talking, like, I texted him, like, sorry, I was so, like, just down about this team. He's like, dude, I just told our producer, it sounded like 2 guys talking about their dogs dying. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, it's just not the best of moods about this team right now. Like, I should be like, hey, thank God, man, it's over. But tonight's the night where it's a funeral, so we'll be sad. We'll celebrate tomorrow. P. Fell Ram in the chat. Matt Ishbia asked the other 29 GMs. 26 of them would trade their whole team for our whole team, our draft picks, and everything as is. That's not a fire. We're in a great position. Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but man. Yeah. Zach Lowe. I don't know if you guys listen to Zach Lowe, but he was canned by ESPN right before the season started, and he just came back, of course, on The Ringer. I know not a lot of big Bill Simmons people, but he's got those good relationships. The Ringer brings great content. He's got the Zach Lowe show, and he has been trashing Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns for that very statement right there. He's like, yeah, how are they feeling now? Irish Roar. Suns Jam session was the only thing I enjoyed about this season. You guys, honestly, your guys' honesty and passion kept the season interesting. Appreciate you guys. No, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us for sure. And just because the season's about to be over doesn't mean we stop the content. There's plenty of stuff in the postseason or the offseason that we'll be covering, from the draft to the trades to Bradley Beal, his ass being fucking driven to Sky Harbor Airport. We just don't do it after every game. We'll just be doing it. We'll pick a day, and that's why, again, if you're a fan of the show and you want to watch live, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and put on those bell notifications, because you'll get a push notification once we go live. Because sometimes we just randomly do it. We got lives too. I'm getting ready to play some Assassin's Creed. Really looking forward to that. Like every summer, I play a different Assassin's Creed, so looking forward to that. Mark, and this pod is awesome. Chat is good. Thanks, everyone. Great place to vent. That's what we're here for, man. The Suns Jam therapy session. Eddie, this postseason will be much more interesting than this season. 100%. Watching good basketball. It's going to be great. Suns Fever 83. I want to watch live. How do I find your channel? Just follow it. YouTube.com @SunsJam, or on Instagram and Twitter @SunsJam. How are the Suns Rising G Leaguers doing? Well, the Valley Suns did make the playoffs, something that the other team, the big league team, didn't make. And they won their first round, because everything in the G League, it's one-game playoffs until you get to the G League finals. And it's a 3-game series. They won their first game against the Santa Cruz Warriors, and they lost the second game to the best team in the G League, which is the Stockton Kings. But the Valley looks good, man. Valley looks good. Keith Nettles, $20. Thank you, man. Thank you. Much appreciated for the super chat. He says, top 5 reasons I watch the Suns Jam session. Number 3, it helps my vocabulary. It helps with my word bank be bigger. Appreciate the support, Keith, as always, man. You've been fantastic coming in, hanging out with us all season long. And there is 2 games left. Matthew and I will be doing the pod on Friday night, and then I don't think we'll be doing a pod after the final game of the season. So, like, Gavin from the Aussie Suns Fan podcast is in town, so I think we're all going to go hang out at like a local bar and just go watch the game. Like him, me, some of the Fanning the Flames guys, just a bunch of us Suns fans. So I think we're going probably to the backyard at Desert Ridge to watch that final game, the final game of the season against the Sacramento Kings, which doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter anymore. This team didn't make the play-in, guys. This team didn't make the play-in. Like, what? What did I have in my notes? Okay, I've got some funny stuff in my notes from today. For those of you who see the game's pregame intros or have been to the stadium, you know that the Suns intro has a song, and it's like, bum, 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 nothing can stop me. And my wife was walking by, and she's like, it should say, we can't stop nothing. And I'm just like, fucking for the win. That's why I love her. That's why she's the best. Just drops a dime. Walking by, it's saying that nothing can stop me, but they can't stop anything. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's fucking fantastic. Midge Oso, can you answer this question like Bud? Is there anyone you would want to keep from this year's team? Yeah, no. I want to keep everybody. I think that there's always the next game. And yeah, no, I think that we just gotta, just no justification for it, but we just gotta be better. There you go. There's my Bud impression. I don't think we have won a game since the Aussie Suns fans quit their podcast. Yeah, they haven't put one out in a while, huh? Here today, gone today. These motherfuckers. They're still out there. What else did I have in my notes? Jalen Williams for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looks like he could be a sibling of Tia and Tamara. If for those of you who are my fellow 90s kids and you know who Tia and Tamara are. Sister. Just that's what he kind of looks like. You know what doesn't exist? Beal. What was that? What did I mean by that? You know what doesn't exist? Beal. Yeah, I don't know what I mean, but I will say, so we have Wazoo Revenge. Okay, Wazoo Revenge. $2 in the super chat. Thank you for that. Is there any positive from tonight? Absolutely, there is. The season's over. It's over. Nothing matters. There's no that's the positive. I know it might sound harsh, it might sound cruel, it might sound unempathetic, but it's like for all intents and purposes, it's over. Sit Booker the last 2 games. Launch, just tell Beal not to show up to work. Just give me the young guys out there for a little bit, and that's it. Just que sera, sera, j'ai fini. It's over. That's the positive. I won a lunch out of the deal. I called it about a month and a half ago with a coworker, taking a look at the schedule, and he's like, "The Suns will make the play." I'm like, "No, they won't." He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "They were in the 11th spot." You can remember, they've been in the 11th seed the entire season. It's what it feels like. It's been a long time. They popped up there to the 9th seed after they had that 4-game winning streak. And they are actually tied record-wise with the Portland Trailblazers, ladies and jamsters, for the 11th seed. Portland's the 12th seed. But I said, look at the schedule, look at this team. I know that Dallas is hurting, and Dallas has gone through. Think about it. They give up Luka Doncic. They get AD. He's injured for a prolonged period of time. Kyrie Irving's out for the season. The fan base is in shambles. If you watched the Lakers-Mavericks game before the Suns game, they're chanting "Fire Nico" just the whole game. It's fantastic. That team was dying to come a part of the seams, and we're worse than them. Unbelievable. This is a great question from Wazoo Revenge. Should we hire the ex-Nuggets coach? I say no. And I'm still trying to figure out if I want the team to fire Coach Budenholzer. But let's say they do. Let's just, for theory's sake, they fire Coach Bud. I don't think you go after Mike Malone. I think that reports coming out of Denver is that team. I mean, obviously, him and the general manager weren't talking. Shit, it's like Bud and Nurkic. And had they not won a championship 2 seasons ago, he probably would have been gone a long time ago. But they won the championship, so they held on to him. But it says a lot about a coach, at least in this instance, where there's so much disdain that they're firing him the week before the fucking playoffs. Now, I know you look at Memphis and you look at Taylor Jenkins, but the issue with Taylor Jenkins was much different scenario in Memphis. In Memphis, they tried to force him out, essentially, before the season began. They got rid of all of his assistants, all his guys. They implemented new guys because him and his general manager didn't get along. And finally, they're like, okay, we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna kick him to the curb. So, Queen Chantel says, John, how likely is it that Bud gets fired? I think it's very likely. I think that the Suns could really look at this upcoming offseason and go, okay, minus Booker, we're blowing this shit up. And that's dangerous. There's danger in that. And the danger is the fact that this team is about to embark on a very important offseason. If you're blowing it up, if you're buying out Bradley Beal, if you're trading Kevin Durant, if you're navigating the draft, which you have 2 picks in, it's looking like the 29th pick and the 55th pick, I think is what the Suns have. You need to do it yesterday. You need to get new people in here to start analyzing options, figuring out what the value is, establish those relationships. And that's why part of me doesn't want Budenholzer or James Jones fired. And I know that what's happening is the fan base is crying, praying, pleading for accountability. Somebody's head's got to roll for this feeling of hopelessness that we all possess, for this elation that that we feel in this moment, celebrating the fact that the team's done, that we don't have to fucking care anymore. Somebody's got to be responsible for this. And a lot of them look to James Jones. Shadow puppet or not for Matt Ishbio, doesn't matter. He needs to go. It's Budenholzer. He did horrible adjustments throughout the season. But think of and you think of the fact that he's a championship coach. Vogel's a championship coach. You know, we're in this endless cycle of just coach year after year after year after year. And so, again, that's why it's like every decision that lies before the Suns, you leave with a sigh going, because if they do that, then this or that, then it's like there's no clear path. It's a tough offseason. How do you build around Booker? And I honestly think like there's what I want to happen and what I think is going to happen. What I want to happen, in all honesty, and this is where I stand today, and this could change very quickly as time progresses and conversations happen, and I see what you guys are saying. I take your thoughts into account and your points of view, because I don't sit here and shit upon other people's ideas. It's one thing that drives me crazy is people are like, anybody who thinks otherwise is what was the word I saw today? Dysfunctional, something like that. And I was just like, maybe you're the dysfunctional one for thinking that anybody who thinks other than you, there's 55 million paths this team could take. And if nobody agrees with your exact assessment, like everyone else is an idiot. Like, come on, guys, like community, let's talk about it. Let's think about it. Let's change our minds. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to be wrong on things. I've been wrong on things all season long. I had hope. I thought this team was going to win 50 fucking games. You know, shit. They might end with 35. But like what I think will happen is they're going to blow everything up except for Booker. I think Bud's gone. I think James Jones is gone. I think that Durant's gone. I think that Beal's gone. I think Grayson Allen's gone. I think Royce O'Neal maybe's gone. But I think that they do just a hard retool around Booker. And that's what I think will happen. What I want to happen is like more of a soft rebuild. Maybe you keep Bud. Give him another season. Like, do you know how hard it is to institute a culture? Have you ever instituted a culture? Like, I used to manage restaurants. And when you take over a new restaurant, it takes 6 months for the culture to slowly seep in, because you've got a whole full new team who doesn't know me. And I'm the one who's coming in, and I got my rules and regulations and methodology relative to accountability and making sure that I'm training them correctly and I'm putting them in the best position to be successful through that training. But it takes time and trust for that to happen. And it didn't work this year for the Suns, but that's not to say it doesn't work next year for the Suns. It takes time to institute culture. And this one and done shit, like year one is okay. Let's see how it goes. Year two, let's build upon it. But again, if the players are the ones who are always dictating what happens, then you're never going to have accountability. Okay, I need to get some more comments here. Equipment manager fallen founder. Patrick Ewing for head coach. Don't put me in timeout. Fuck yeah, fuck off. Patrick Ewing, get the fuck out of here. I want Sam Cassell if we do move on from Bud. Keith Nettles, I bet they sacrificed like 3 or 4 assistants. Yeah, they did that last year too. Mark N. Suns need to sort out their front office before coaching decisions. Front office can then start making basketball decisions. Exactly. If they're going to move off of James Jones, they need to do it like now. Because again, that offseason, it comes quick. The season ends is April 13th. You have to start drafting, scouting, getting everything ready, because at the end of June, when the NBA draft is, right after that's NBA free agency. I mean, it's big. You know, the trading, things there's a lot going on. Dagoberto Ortiz. Coach Bud didn't seem motivated all season. Almost like he hated being in Phoenix. Kevin Durant effect? I don't know. Jeremy, get Bob Myers on the phone. I'd be all for that. Mark Brooks, maybe this garbage will convince Ishbia to stop listening to Isaiah Thomas. This has Isaiah Thomas's fingerprints all over it. I've mentioned that before, but it's like you look at the Knicks in like late 2000s, early 2010s when Isaiah Thomas was the GM. He just blew the I need big names, and they sucked. Rick M. I love Book, but when he's no better than Beal when it comes to winning, no KD equals this team has no chance to win. And that's the other side of this, right? Do you try to keep Kevin Durant and build around those two? Like in a perfect world, that's what I would do. But again, there's so much ancillary things with KD. It's just kind of, I don't know. But I disagree vehemently. I agree. I disagree a lot with Rick M. I love Book, but he's no better than Beal when it comes to winning. Horse shit. Bradley Beal's made a career out of losing. Devin Booker has been to a finals. He's excelled in the playoffs. He plays well in the playoffs. Yeah, he's had some boneheaded performances like a lot of players, but at least he's been there. Bradley Beal is a fucking loser. Irish Roar, Silver Lining, Al, RIP, didn't have to witness this failure. Amen to that. GM is more important role. Think they need a new guy in there. Yeah, I'm not overly opposed to that. I'm gonna look at a couple more comments, and then I'm going to do the subreddit stakeout where I hung out in Phoenix tonight. I didn't go to Oklahoma City. I went to Phoenix. Let's see. All right. Mark, and new coach and new roster year after year. Inconsistency does not build anything near a championship. Suns need to pick a direction now and stick with it for a few years. Exactly. Or you can say they've already picked a direction. They need to stick with what they have with Bud, right? It's kind of that same, and I agree with that. Like, look at the best teams in the NBA. Okay, I guess the Cavs are an exception because Bickerstaff is new this year. He came over from the Nets, but what's his face? Dagnall in OKC. He's been there for years. The Lakers are the exception because they just another exception, I guess, because they got Redick. The Celtics, third season under Joe Maz, an amazing talented roster too. That's just a good organization. Let's see. So Saul, I disagree, John. Suns need a new front office. They can decide if Bud stays and who to keep from the roster. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like, you don't need to fire Bud. Suns Digest, what up, Bruce? I agree with John. The fresh slate with Booker. I really I'd like a Booker Beal. Or I'm sorry, fuck me, no, never. I'd like a Booker Durant reunion, but I just don't think. I think we're past that point. That's kind of where I land. Like, depends on what you get back, all that other stuff, but yeah, I don't know. All right, well let's do some subreddit stakeout.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So yeah, I hung out in Phoenix tonight for the subreddit stakeout. I want to see what the Suns fans were saying on the final game that meant anything this season. Just sparked a blunt with KD, somebody said. Beal stinks. Royce is so trash on defense, I can't wait for his ass to be sent off into the void. Imagine how good we would be if we were healthy, well coached, and gave a shit for a full season. Probably not that good, but still better than missing the play-in. These guys love missing great threes that Book creates. And Book had a great night relative to 14 assists, season high. Could have had more, but his teammates were just missing shots left and right. And don't worry, guys. We have the leadership out there to turn this game around. The rest of the season, as evidence to the contrary, be damned. Because they were talking about a lot on the broadcast, the leadership of Devin Booker. It's like, yeah, maybe we'll see leader Devin Booker when we stop building super teams around him, when we build teams around him. How about that, huh, guys?
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right, Jamsters. I don't know how much more I have left in me. It's been let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Wazoo Revenge. We need to start selling for some picks. I'm so anti the pick thing. Like, I get why it's good to have picks. Listen to previous podcasts, and I talk about this kind of really in depth, but it's just like, what's the point of fucking having picks? Like, unless you have a top 3 pick, they don't mean shit. What was the stat that I came up with? In the past 9 drafts, there's only been 11 players who have made an All-NBA team, and 8 of them are top 5 picks. 8 of the 11. So unless you have a top 5 pick, what's the fucking point? Equipment manager, fallen founder. I'd rather keep Jones and fire Bud. Durant needs to go before he loses his value. I don't listen to anything you say. So I will do the exact opposite of what you say, because you want Patrick Ewing to be our head coach and you think that Jeff Green has value. Love you, Jake. Love you, Jakey boy. Rick M, you can trade them for stars who come on the market like Fox and Ingram. So you mean just do the same shit we've been doing? Because isn't that what we did? We got a bunch of picks and we traded them for Beal and Durant, and that didn't fucking work. It's like the same thing. It's like what's insanity? Do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Do better, be better. Yeah, that's what Kevin Durant told me in a DM once. I need to do better and be better covering the team. All right, KD. Why weren't you on the bench, dude? Like, I understand that your ankle hurts, but you can't be out there for the team. Yikes. Suns Digest. Are you on the train of attaching either rookie to get off Beal? That's a great question. I've been seeing that more recently. I would think it would be tough to see either go, especially Dunn. So I'll start by saying this. Again, with my conversations with John Gambadoro today, it sounds like a buyout is coming. And I was talking to Bobby Marks about this as well. A buyout is coming. It's tricky with dead cap money and things of that nature, but a buyout would come for him. And then Beal would make up the money that he's going to lose in a buyout by going and signing like a 2-year, $30 million deal somewhere else, right? So I don't think it's going to come to that, to answer your question. If that was the case, if we would have to trade Ryan Dunn to get off Bradley Beal, I'd fucking do it. I would do it. I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but I would do it. Ryan Dunn is a great defender. He's an average offensive guy. And I think that if you could trade Bradley Beal, what that opens up cap-wise gives you more options, an opportunity to build with effective players. And you can go get a Ryan Dunn archetype guy, potentially, who could actually hit a 3 consistently. So, yeah, Vincent Lay says in the chat, 20 million dead space for a few years. Yeah, if you do the stretch and wave kind of thought process, then there's the provisional stretch and wave where it's like you pay him, you buy him out 40 million, then 19 a mil for the next 4 seasons. It's not great, obviously, but it gets you under the second apron, and it's kind of like you just have a $19 million guy on your team. He's just out with an ACL injury for 4 years. I mean, but like that, is that what you have to do? Like, again, everything that you talk about with this team says, that's what we got to do. I want to sing some more My Chemical Romance. Did anyone get that at the front end, how I was doing that? I was thinking about that all day in my head. Oh. Sometimes I get the feeling the Phoenix Suns are dead. And sometimes I think that I'm happy it happened. I don't have to give a shit no more. Fuck the play-in, fuck the floor. I don't care about the Suns anymore. I don't care. And I'm glad. Season's over. Yes, I'm glad the season's over for the Suns. Sorry. I just woke up my whole household coming in. Yeah. You don't get that shit on the fucking Aussie Suns fan podcast, do ya? There, Boyd. Because you guys don't record podcasts anymore. All right. Well, with that being said, I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I still have to write a couple articles for brightsideofthesun.com, so make sure that you check those out. And again, we'll be coming to you live after the San Antonio game, both Matthew and I on Friday night. We will not be going live on the after the Sunday game, I don't think, unless if we do, it's just gonna be a bunch of drunk Suns podcasters hanging out at a local bar. So on that note, Jamsters, thank you ever so much for your continual support and listening to me drone on and on and on about the Phoenix Suns this entire season. Again, if you get a chance, pop over to our Apple Podcast page, give us 5 stars, write a review like Top Notch. Or Plip Mode left a 5-star review recently, says Top Notch. Love to watch John and Matt after every game on YouTube for their in-depth analysis, catchy player drops, especially Nick Richards, and references to Devin Booker's huge hog. Suns for life. And on that note, Jamsters, go home and love your family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.